Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
And welcome back to Marvel Mania. Sorry about the delay on these. Eric and I were out of town this weekend, and I was not able to get a couple of these posted because of exporting issues and stuff. But we're back, and we are gonna start knocking them down once again. Today, we are doing X-Men Origins Wolverine, and
Everyone's favorite.
That's right. See, I almost said that, and I'm like, nah, I keep using that. They're all the bad ones. Everybody's favorite. And at this point, you can say everybody's favorite Wolverine movie. We're about to have 3 of those, yep. Which is was kind of nuts, especially because we keep talking about how Wolverine's not anything like as popular as it used to be. Mm-hmm. So where we're at now is it's Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Yep. Yep.
You know, that everybody really loves. We have decided, since this is, of course, no surprise, not a movie that we like a lot, that it might be amusing.
It is, in fact, a bad movie.
It's a bad movie. It might be, we thought it might be amusing if this was the movie that we got good and liquored up for. So, what we're going to do for you today is, and don't try this at home, kids, we're going to try 3 shots of Jaeger. We're going to do some Jägermeister today, and Eric's never had this before.
I don't believe I've ever had it.
And we're going to knock 3 back in a row right away at the very beginning of the commentary, and see how lucid we are throughout the rest of this. So this will be really fun. Hopefully. We'll see how it goes. It'll be an interesting little experiment, and for those of you that are not real keen on alcohol, of course, we are not in any way whatsoever endorsing children doing this, or anybody that does not like to drink or is susceptible to alcohol addiction, but Eric and I, when we drink casually, or we do a crazy, stupid thing like this.
Yep.
So anyway, are you ready to go ahead and get started? We're going to do that first, and then we're going to start watching X-Men Origins Wolverine. It's nuts how old that movie is now.
Yeah.
And this is, before we start, because I just thought of this, this is one of the first movies that a lot of the folks that I work with on the channel tackled as far as superhero movies go on their own channels.
This is the first new Marvel movie that comes out after I start doing YouTube.
Yeah, and it's one of Manos' early reviews, and the one he always goes back to as not a great review because he loved it, and then he thought about it.
I think I might have liked it too.
A lot of us liked it okay, and then we thought about it.
I'm not sure. I know I was excited for it.
Yeah.
But I can't remember if I...
And I uttered the fateful line, "There's no way they messed this up," when I saw the trailer. And even after we had that leaked version...
that everyone said was awful.
I wasn't
and people were saying things like, "There's no way that happened."
Yeah. And then,
no way is Deadpool the villain at the end of the movie.
And then there was. Okay, well, let's start with our Marvel glasses, shall we?
Right.
So you can have the Incredible Hulk.
I will have the Incredible
Hulk. And
Hulk.
I will take Wolverine. It's real appropriate there, Wolverine.
Yeah.
All right, you ready,
Why
sir?
Is that appropriate?
Oh, you're right. I should say Origins. Anyway, all right, here we go.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Are we drinking to forget?
No, we're drinking to remember. Here we go. Okay. That's one.
That tastes like cough syrup.
Yeah, a little bit.
Ooh, there's a nice little aftertaste.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. It does at first kind of taste like cough syrup, and then you go, oh wait, no, that's nice.
Yeah.
I like Jaeger a lot. I haven't done it in a long time. Tim Lanz introduced me to it. Okay, here's the second one. You can have the Savage Curtain. I've got the TOS shot glasses, and I'll take Miri.
That looks like Abe Lincoln.
It is Abe Lincoln.
Well, there you go.
Abe Lincoln shows up in the Savage Curtain, and he's in... Well, let's drink this real quick. Here we go. Okay. Right? Go.
Yep.
He's... It's, of course, a recreation of Abraham Lincoln, along with a bunch of other historical figures of different planets and things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the teaser of the episode. You should see it. It's fun. He's sitting in his chair outside the ship floating, and he's on the view screen. It's great.
That's great.
We do that with a lot of stuff. There's a big giant hand. Okay. So you can have the Tholian web, and I will take Mirror Mirror.
Ooh, I like that. It's
All right.
It's a cool picture.
There we go.
Let's do this.
Last one.
You know, I didn't think about this, because when I originally suggested this, I just randomly said, like, we should do, like, 3 shots.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Wolverine's claws, 3.
I was going to say that. I forgot all about it. But yeah, 1 for every claw.
Yep.
All right, folks, if you want to watch it with us, make sure to get out your DVD or Blu-ray. However you're going to watch it, get it at timestamp 0, past all the menus, and get ready to press play when I say now. Eric, are you ready, sir?
I am ready.
Here we go, everybody. Please press play right now.
You know, you say this about a lot of the movies, but I think I have actually at some point said, you know, I will never watch this movie again.
And then you forget that if you work on a channel like this, they all come back.
Yep.
They especially all come back for me.
You will never...
Of course, the primary thing I do is superhero movies.
Because there's been a couple of these that you've been like, I never thought I'd ever have to watch this again. I guarantee you, for some reason, you'll have to watch Spider-Man 3 again.
Catwoman.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about some of those really bad ones that I'm like, no, I've exhausted it. I've done everything I could possibly do. I mean, like, and I don't intentionally milk these things for all they're worth. They just keep kind of coming back. Like, we essentially plan to do 4 videos on every new superhero movie. Eventually, at some point, right? You do the how we felt about to help people decide if they want to go, and then you do the spoiler cast, and then you do the rewind, and then there's a commentary.
Yep.
So immediately we're in essentially Origin.
Yep. We are gonna take Origin, which is a lovely book on its own, and we're gonna condense that to about 4 minutes.
Yep.
And we're gonna kill the whole. I mean, when you read that book, you don't know which of the 2 kids is Wolverine, and it's a big surprise that the prissy young rich boy is Wolverine.
That's right.
And we're gonna take that away altogether.
Yeah, there's no surprise here. And I can't have been the only person in the theater, even if you didn't know that book, that wished this was the whole movie.
Yeah. Or at least, like, the first act or the first half.
Yeah, but spend some more time here.
Yeah.
And as much as I like how the opening credit sequence is handled, and even the music and that, I like it a lot. I put it on my top 10.
Yeah.
I really would have liked to have lived here for some time. And I think this all looks fine.
Yeah.
It would have been great if this was the aesthetic of the whole movie. I might have given it a more, that's real The Shining, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I would have maybe given this a little bit more of a stylized color palette.
Yeah.
You know, some sort of a tint to it. Maybe like a slightly off yellow hue.
Yeah, I was going to say like
something.
an amber.
Yeah. If you made it the whole movie.
Yeah.
That may not have been appropriate for this film, because when the rest of the movie isn't that stylized, it'd be kind of weird. But then Weapon X also maybe should have been, or it might have been cool, if it had been, if there had been more of a stylized color palette for that.
Yeah, because like if you did like amber for this, then you get to Weapon X, and that's awful and really silly.
You think?
Yeah. Just that kid out of nowhere just be like, ah! But yeah, you get to Weapon X, you do like a blue or a green. He looks a lot like Liev Schreiber.
Yes, he does. That's a great point.
Well, this all happened real fast.
Yeah. In a much more condensed way, this is kind of what we did with Krypton and Man of Steel. It feels like the end of a movie we didn't watch.
Yeah. But with
now,
this...
to be fair, this happens like, I don't know what, more like the middle of Origin.
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't read Origin in a long time, but I know it doesn't end with "and he's got claws." We know that through more of the book.
Yeah, no, and they give it room to breathe and tell this story.
Every time I watch this, it makes me want to go back to Origin and read it again. And unabashedly, I love that book. I don't care if you want it to actually be canonical or not. As its own read, I really like that book. It's so easy to read a thing like that as a What If or an Elseworlds. Anyway.
And
when I first read it, I thought it was. Well, and then I found out that it wasn't supposed to be, and I was like, wait a minute, I think the whole idea was that we would never get the origin of Wolverine. And then that was the whole point.
Well, and there's a whole thing with that, which is, we do the Wolverine origin because X-Men came out, we're worried that the movies are going to tell Wolverine's origin before the comics do. So we make that comic. My question is, if that comic never came out, do we get this movie? When we do the Wolverine movie, do we do this? Is it a given that we would do his origin?
No, I think we would do the Weapon X origin. I mean, because before this, when you thought of Wolverine's origin, you think of the thing that makes him Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Joker I love this theme. I think it's really good. When we do, it's sort of like the Joker, where it's like anything you come up with is not going to be as interesting as what you might imagine.
Yeah.
For who he was beforehand. I kind of don't want to know. I always wanted that to be a dark gray area, where like maybe you give us snippets of it, here and there. I mean, I always liked, Wolverine in World War II with Captain America and things like that. Like, you can give us pieces of it. But I don't want to know everything.
That's right, Will.i.am is in this movie.
Yeah. Isn't this a beautiful fanfare?
Oh, it's
really good.
No, it is.
And that's one of the things that's frustrating about it, is that, as, even if you think the kid with the claws thing is silly, it looks like the opening to a much better movie.
So, there's two things with this. One is, they're always on the winning side and the right side of the war.
That's a good point.
Which, that's a real safe choice. But the other thing is, the first one...
Right, because they're not American, and so they're picking sides.
Yeah, well, and the other is, the first war we see them in is the Civil War, and I'm not a history expert. I don't think Canada gets that involved in the Civil War.
I would think.
There's that on all fours thing, which...
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about. It makes me laugh, but I don't think it's a poor choice. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
It also looks cool.
Yeah.
Or at least they make it look as cool as you can make that look.
Yeah.
I wanted to say something about the kid. We're already past it, but looking at this again, and I haven't seen this in a good long time, I feel like that kid seems like the casting choice you'd go for if you had gone with the more scrappy Wolverine. That kid doesn't look like he could grow up and become Hugh Jackman to me.
Yeah, yeah.
But he looks like he could be comic book Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot they were in
Yeah.
I guess that's not exactly the good side of that war, but...
Well, no, that's true.
But it's still the American side. I don't know if Canada was involved in Vietnam.
No,
I guess it doesn't matter at this point.
They're not fighting for the Canadians, clearly. Yeah. I mean...
Well, it seems like they forgot
that
Wolverine was
anything.
Canadian.
Yeah, I think that's the whole deal. But he does start in Canada, doesn't he?
I don't know if that says Canada at the beginning.
I don't mean in origin. I mean,
think when he becomes
when he becomes
a logger, I think it might be.
But it's also okay for this movie, I think, maybe to say he didn't start in Canada, but he ended up there, and then later on he thinks he's Canadian. I mean, that's not a horrible thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't guess. Does he have to be from Canada in the first place? I'm not sure what Origin did with that.
I thought they were in the Canadian... I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that shot, I mean, and this is an obvious thing to say for anything set in that war, but that sure looked real Apocalypse Now to me.
Yeah.
So, of course, this is a title I don't like.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
And it would be easier to swallow had we had 2 or 3 more in a thing that sounds like it's starting from a line.
Yeah. Which is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, and so
supposed to,
that's fair.
X-Men Origins Magneto, X-Men Origins Storm.
But I didn't know about that. That was supposed to be a thing?
That's what I heard. Those were the 3 that they said they were going to do.
I only ever heard about Magneto, and there was talk about maybe another one, but I didn't know what it would be. Maybe I did know that. It's just so many years I don't remember. I have no idea.
The Magneto one's important because there is a script, and there's a lawsuit with First Class, and stuff.
Oh, I didn't know there was a lawsuit.
Oh, yeah, they said that they clearly took stuff from the Magneto, or the X-Men Origins Magneto script. Which, I don't know if that's true or not, but...
Well, regardless of all of that, at least we kind of got that movie.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that is very much Magneto's movie.
Yeah.
It's also Professor X's movie, but... But yeah, before we had Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, we had this direct-to-video sounding title.
Well, but it sounds really comic booky.
Yeah. Again, if we had had a whole line of Origins movies...
Well, and there's also the legality of it. They have to put a movie called, with X-Men the title out so many years to keep the license.
And now they're not so concerned with that because they're just making sure if they want to do spin-offs, they do an X-Men movie.
Yeah.
And they... I mean, I get the sense from this that they felt like Wolverine couldn't hold a movie on his own. which is really weird because they still basically make it well, not a team movie. It's more of a horror film where where all the mutants get killed off in the first act. But they feel like they have to throw a bunch of mutants in there.
Yeah, and this is all fine. The Weapon X mutants.
Yeah.
Deadpool's kind of involved in Weapon X, but it's later. But that's fine.
Yeah, and of course he's nothing like this.
And yeah,
this. I mean, this is a more pulled back version of what he turns into when he's Deadpool. It is cool to compare this performance with the Blade Trinity performance, because that's just Deadpool, and with the and then of course with the actual Deadpool movie performance now. But again, in the comics, he's completely hardened, no nonsense, does not have a sense of humor at all. That's how I remember it.
There's the villain of Ant-Man.
The villain of Ant-Man.
Oh yeah, Blob is Yellow Jacket. And it's funny because
wait, really?
Yeah.
I don't think you're right about that.
No, I am, because he's also in the Strain. He's the main character of the Strain.
But he's the guy from the first season of House of Cards, and I don't think that's who that is. I'll look closer. That didn't look anything like him to me.
He also looks like... It's funny, because later he's going to be in a fat suit. He looks like he's in a muscle suit. He doesn't look like he got ripped for this role. He looks like he's in a big muscle suit.
Oh, no, he is in a big muscle suit. Well, but, I mean, he would have to be that big of a fat guy.
But I was going to say, this is all fine, this, like, Weapon X team. Although Agent Zero / Maverick, his power seems to be he shoots guns. This is all fine. It's later when we, for no reason, get Emma Frost and Cyclops and Quicksilver and, like, why did we have to do that?
Yeah, but I didn't even like all of this necessarily. I just feel like it takes away from, developing Logan as a character before he becomes Wolverine.
I agree, but I don't mind that we brought in characters from, like, the Weapon X program. Like, if you had to have X-Men characters, or if you had to have mutants and stuff.
Well, do you feel that way about Gambit?
Oh, Gambit's totally inserted in this movie. He doesn't need to be here.
Yeah, I mean, it just as an idea, if you just wanted this to be the Weapon X movie and it's about all these characters that were in Weapon X, but it's focusing on Wolverine, that's not necessarily a terrible idea. It's just none of them get especially developed either, and they're kind of just here to get killed off, a lot of them, and it feels like this weird safe choice because we have to make it an X-Men movie on top of a Wolverine movie. Like,
he's not who I thought he was. He's a different actor.
Yeah, that's not who that is.
He's also in The Strain, but he's a different actor. I forget what else I know him from. Yeah, no, that's a different actor.
I started to look it up.
He's not Yellow Jacket.
You're not right about that. That's not who that is.
No, he's also in The Strain, but I mixed him up with the main character. I forget what else I know him from, but he's a working character actor. He's good.
This bad guy here is the evil African warlord from 24, who had I think I might be wrong about this because it's hard to go back this many years and get the timeline right. But if memory serves, that TV movie between season 6 and 7, I think it's season 6 and 7, had just come out, and he's the bad guy in that, and then he's the bad guy into the next season. And so I had just seen him. I like that actor a lot.
And Charlie's also here?
Yeah, of course.
Whose power seems to be to turn on light bulbs.
And we were still in the middle of Lost, so he does this while Lost is still on.
Yeah, well, it was Gambit was offered to Sawyer, and he turned it down because he thought it was too similar to the role of Sawyer.
And that would have been tough to play, to not just do Sawyer in that role.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you'd be doing a different accent if you went totally Cajun with it, but.
So, what is his power? Because it's not super speed.
Precision?
Did he like mutate just good with swords?
It might just be like genius hand-eye coordination and like able to see things in slow motion.
That's kind of cool.
But they don't tell you that.
Yeah.
No, I like that idea, but the thing is, when they slow it down and they show him cutting through a bullet, you'd have to have superpowers, or is it just stupid movie logic?
I think it's just stupid.
When you're watching
it's the same thing as Agent Zero's gun powers.
I never wondered what his power was.
I
never
either.
assumed he was a mutant. He's got to be.
Yeah. No,
Although
I'm
in the
just
comics,
asking.
I don't know if he is. Well, is
Wade?
he?
Wade is not.
Yeah, he's not.
No.
Maybe he's not in this either. Is it possible he's just not a mutant?
Well, but he's doing...
Again,
I mean, that's
movie logic,
superhuman.
but movie logic. do the people making this movie think he is a mutant?
I think so, because I think the whole team is mutants, and that's the point, is he puts together a team of mutants. But it can also be like Suicide Squad, where
I was going to say that.
we put together a team of metahumans, and 80% of them
are not metahumans.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't feel like there's really any reason for both of us to be here. On this commentary. Why don't you just take over and I'll go get hamburgers again. We're just making the same points and even using the same made up nonsense percentages. We already knew each other well enough before we met in person that we were finishing each other's sentences. Now that we live together, oh god, we are just two brains that share the same jar.
Yep. Wade speaking local language. We won't tell you what language that is. It's the local one.
It's some language, yeah.
I don't remember any of this, and I know none of this is important to this movie. This is the mission that is, for some reason, too far for Wolverine.
That's what it is. Yep. Where they've pushed their morality too far. And we need to know more about what happened in Vietnam, because that would be the place where it would really go, where you would think just the American military already was going too far. You know, it would have to just be Victor. You think like everybody there, and it seems like the thing that Wade and Stryker have in common is that they both seem to kind of enjoy seeing people suffer for no reason. They make that, like, in this scene, maybe not beyond that, but in this scene, like, it seems like they're trying to, with facial expressions, make that the, like, predominant character trait of each of those characters. He's smiling right now, and he's smiling. These are the bad people.
Yeah. And it's...
Maybe they think that we need to want Wade to turn into Deadpool. Like he deserves this horrible thing that's going to happen to him.
And it's not the Stryker from X2, like, right off the bat. Like regardless of the southern accent. He is right off the bat not that character.
It's a different character.
He's way too cool with mutants.
Well...
Because what I get from X2 is that he will experiment on mutants, and he will try to turn them into something he can use, but they're just palling around.
You have to remember that his mutant hatred comes from what happens with his son, and he doesn't have that yet.
Okay.
So it's okay if he's different in the past.
Okay.
He doesn't have to be predisposed to hate mutants. In fact, I like the idea that he's the other way. Not because, it's cool and ironic because it's opposite. It's because, remember, he sends his son to Xavier's school.
Yeah,
if he's anti-mutant, he wouldn't think of his son as a person, likely. He'd get rid of him and try again or something. Then he gets a mutant son, and he does what a lot of other, like, good parents do who know what Xavier's school is, and he sends him there hoping that... But, well, on the other hand, he sends him there hoping that Professor X can cure him.
Mm-hmm.
So, maybe he would be predisposed to not... To think that, you know, mutanity was a disease or something, but you wouldn't want to take him too far in the kill all mutants direction.
Yeah, that makes sense. We are now in the Canadian Rockies, or clearly on a set with a backdrop.
The thing I'm never clear on is if the thing with his son happens before or after the Weapon X program.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not clear on that.
Yeah, it...
Because if it happens before,
time.
it kind of makes a little more sense, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like he's experimenting on mutants. Because if it's... I don't know, because it could have been his trying to cure mutants, but that's not what it is. He wants to use them as weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the thing that's supposed to make him sympathetic at all is trying to help his kid, and then kind of losing his mind because of what his kid does to his wife.
Mm-hmm. I'm not a logger, but do you bring your own axe and chainsaw to work?
If you have, like, a real sentimental connection to your saw and your and your axe, you know.
This is Bessie, like, and this is Janice.
It's like the he's like the
Why is he just getting the
he's like the janitor in UHF. My mop.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Wolverine is Stanley Spadowski. That's what I'm saying.
I need you to explain to me, other than the fact that he needs to be the one that dies first, why Charlie is in this movie. Because we don't see him fight. We don't ever see him use his powers, except for this, that he can turn lights on. He doesn't have a combat-based power, but he was on that team. Why is he in this movie other than he needs to die here?
I mean, it's not like he was a big draw for the box office because they didn't sell it on him or anything.
Yeah, I don't think most people knew he was in this movie.
He's a working actor and somebody wanted to work with him on this movie, maybe. I mean, keep in mind, like...
I don't mean the actor, I mean the character.
Oh, the character.
I mean the character.
Yes,
why is he here?
He's totally superfluous. Yeah, just to be killed off. I thought you meant that...
No. I don't mean Charlie, I just don't know the character's name. But, like, we don't see him in combat. Like, I don't know why he was on that team. I don't know why he's in this movie other than he needs to be the first victim. It's weird that they gave him the power that they gave him, and I'm sure he's someone in the comics.
Yeah.
But why? Why not pick another character?
I don't know that it fits anywhere thematically. You know, that power is significant in some way to the story they're telling.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to turn on and off lights. Well, this is a stretch, and I'm not sure they thought of it.
They didn't think when they were making this movie, so...
Wolverine's gonna lose his memory, and this guy can make light bulbs go on and off. Like, that's all I've got.
That's
all I've got.
That's a real stretch.
Yeah, and it's dumb if it's what they were going for, maybe. So, I don't know. He's a real tacky dresser.
It also seems like when Wolverine left...
What, does he have bumblebees on his shirt? What are those?
It also seems when Wolverine left, the whole band disbanded. Like, oh, well, Wolverine's not here. There's no fun.
He's not here. I'm not
gonna go our own way.
Well, they could have made that work if they talked about it. If it was like, well, if it's too extreme for him, it's too extreme for us. He's our leader. We're following him.
But he wasn't.
Why does he have bees on his shirt? I really think that's what that is. And then he's got like all these toys in here. He's got like this toy motif. This could have been a really interesting character. It's one of those things where I wonder if all these choices are arbitrary, or if somebody wrote out this kind of really interesting character.
If there's like a better early draft.
Or if he's a comic book something that I don't know. And then, yeah, exactly. And then his screen time gets cut down to the point where, or it just never made it into the script in the first place.
Yeah.
So there's all this planning for this character that just doesn't get on the page. And that happens all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's cool because we can draw a character with what his interests are and what he's got in his house or whatever. But this guy, I don't know who he is in the first place. He's not really about anything.
Yeah. We make this choice with this movie, and they made kind of a
so that was on purpose, right? Sorry, I gotta say this, that they did a close-up that's gonna look a lot like what he does when he comes out of the cage, out of the
vat.
The vat, yeah, that's a good word.
We made this choice, and we did it, and they talked about this when this movie was coming out, that this character and the character in X-Men don't really line up. The Sabertooth. And so in this movie, we never call him Sabertooth, we only call him Victor, and theoretically they could be two different characters.
Was that supposed to be the idea that they could be two different people?
Yes, because we only call him Victor. We never call him Sabertooth.
So that he doesn't have to be the guy from the first movie?
Yes. So they don't have to actually match up.
And of course he wanted to be in this bad.
Yeah. And he does, I saw some documentary once, and he's the host of, about comic books, superhero history.
Yeah.
No, he seems like a guy
No, Liev Schreiber is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Liev Schreiber, who's playing Victor.
Yeah, no, I mean, the guy who played the first Sabertooth really wanted to be in this movie.
Oh, that guy. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he really wanted to be in this.
That's... I mean, not that this is a great movie, but, he couldn't have been in this movie. He has to talk.
But yeah, it is really unfortunate because this Stryker is just not interesting.
What? 18.5.
And he sounds real proud of it too.
That's a real weird, like, semantical argument Wolverine's making there. 18.5.
Yeah, I get $500 more. I replace my tires on my car once every 5 years.
You know, this scene needs to be, like, halfway through the movie. Like, I don't know who this man is.
Yeah. Well...
This isn't you. I don't know if that's true or not.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I thought you didn't know enough about Stryker.
No. I mean Wolverine. He says this isn't you. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, and the whole point of this is to learn what this character is like before he becomes Wolverine. He's just the same guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's the exact same
He's playing him exactly the same way. And I'm not saying that you can't maybe do that he doesn't kind of turn back into who he is in the first place, and then again, you can have a nature versus nurture argument and stuff. You know, is he destined by nature to be the way he is, or is it his experiences and upbringing and whatever? But we still need to deal with what he's all about.
This is where our movie should have started, right? Stryker coming to him? Because if your movie opens and he's saying, I know who you are, this isn't you.
Then we can learn what that is.
Yeah.
But we had too much screen time with him already.
Yeah.
Sorry. I am once again finishing your sentences.
It's cool. Apparently...
He wants a family.
Apparently with a little bit of liquor in us, we just become completely spaggo.
Evens it out. And of course, Silver Fox just sounds like a superhero name.
Yeah, and she's... As I recall, and I've not read this stuff, but as I recall...
I think now, she is supposed to be Native American, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a real legitimate Native American last name, but she sounds like an X-Man. And it's in her name.
And she's real complicated in the comics, where, like, we do build this backstory with them, and then we say that, like, that's implanted memories, or, like, something like that, where, like, it gets real convoluted.
Where it doesn't actually happen.
But I've not actually read a lot of that stuff, so... and I'd like to. I'd like to read a good chunk of that early Wolverine stuff, like maybe the first 50 or so issues.
This is one of those movies where, as I'm watching it, I'm simultaneously remembering watching it for the first time in the theater and still thinking, maybe this will turn out to be an okay movie, and embarrassed for it because I know where it's going. And I just... This is one of the movies that I most, every time I watch it, am like hoping against hope that somehow or rather it's a different movie.
And it's so weird because I remember all this
I don't mean
stuff.
that I expect to like it this time. I mean that literally I hope the scenes are different. That it's a different story.
I remember all this stuff being deeper in the movie. I mean, and this needs to be how the movie opens, or it needs to be deeper in the movie. This is still like the first act, and I don't remember it that way.
That's a weird exchange, right?
Yeah. Well, and...
Because that's not an explanation. You're like, female powers of persuasion. If you said powers of persuasion and you both knew you were mutants, that's an explanation. We're not talking about that, and so I don't know if the idea is that she's assuming that he understands superpowers because he's a mutant, or...
No. I think it's... She's being honest and he doesn't know. It's one of those things where, like, you're coming... Because he doesn't know that she has mutant powers.
The point I'm making is it's more awkward than that. Because, well, yeah, but if that happens, where a girl can just say something to someone, like, I don't care how pretty she is, if you can just say something to someone and immediately make them do a thing they wouldn't do otherwise, he should be like, no, that's not an explanation. And so it's awkward because she says female powers of persuasion, like she's pretending like it's an explanation and being cute with him, but it's also clearly a superpower. I don't know. And I don't mean to argue about semantics, but it's a really strange exchange. I just don't know what each character thinks is going on with the other character.
And this is all weird.
The whole Wolf of the Sky parable.
Yeah, I mean, it's real on the nose and obvious, and it doesn't come from anywhere. It's just, we cut to a scene, and she goes, I'm going to tell you a story. We don't get to it. Like, make this scene a minute longer and have them have a conversation that gets to her telling him a story.
Yeah.
It just cuts to this scene and she's telling a story.
We're trying to be really economical. Because this is a movie that was made by committee.
And he seems checked out in this movie.
Yeah, yeah.
No wonder he kept threatening to leave.
It doesn't feel like we're telling a story. It feels like we're pretending like we're telling a story.
Like, it looks like on set he knows that he's not making the movie he wants to be making.
Yeah. He's frustrated.
Yeah. Like, he just, like, looks bored. Like that whole conversation she gives him, he's just like...
I'm going to go this far. A lot of the dialogue in this movie, you know, going back and looking at this again, this far in, feels like a made-for-TV movie to me.
Yeah! Yeah, it does. I didn't pay attention. I don't remember.
Oh, scary guy suddenly in the road.
If anybody important wrote that. And we've stopped trying
Gotta have that motif.
Stopped trying to do, like, Wolverine hair. It's just, like, have a long hair. That's the same thing.
Doesn't he get it later, though?
I think it just gets bigger.
Is the idea supposed to be he's not the Wolverine yet, so he doesn't have that hair?
Maybe.
I mean, I always assume that's what it was.
In the comics,
right?
it's really silly. Because, like, they shave his head and it grows back and it's...
That's great. Yeah, and
because in Weapon X, it's huge.
In Weapon X, it's nuts. Yeah.
That just seems to be how his hair grows. It's not a style.
It's as silly as any time we go Batman ears that are so tall you couldn't get in my basement.
Mm.
It reminds me of that.
Da 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 da. That's running music.
Little punny foo-foo running through the forest.
4 claws. No animal on Earth has 4 claws, but Victor!
I know it wasn't me, because I only have 3 claws. And this is one of those yelling the same person's name over and over again kind of movies.
This movie does...
Victor!
This movie might...
Carolyn!
This movie might hold the record for shouting to the sky no. I think it does it like 4 times.
No? Really?
No, yeah, just like, no!
No happens a bunch of times? I don't remember this.
We had it at the beginning, when he pops his claws out, he's like, no! And then he stabs the guy.
Yeah,
he's going to do it again here.
No. Oh, yeah. The Klingon death howl would have been better. Hold her eyes open and just go, ah! That would have been much better. He's not committed. Oh, no, he doesn't.
Oh, no, he's not. He's just yelling to the sky.
He does do the death howl, except he doesn't hold the eyeballs open.
So he's not yelling.
He's not a Klingon.
He's not yelling no, he's just yelling to the sky.
Yeah, so that works. No, the thing I like to count in this movie... Well, I'm just saying at least it's not no. The thing I like to count in this movie is Wolverine and Victor running and jumping at each other. That's just the best. That happens at least 3 times. We'll count those.
Why do you do the smiley face thing? Like, is that just like writing 101? Like, well, it's creepy if he draws a smiley face?
Yeah. See, he's perverting happiness.
Also, I don't know exactly. The smiley face is way newer than you would think it is, and I'm not sure it would be as all around there. It doesn't. The smiley face does not exist until the 60s. I don't know if you knew that.
At all?
Yeah, someone actually invented the smiley face.
Yeah, okay, but this is post the 60s.
But I don't know if it's commonplace yet.
No, it is, because it's, I mean, at least people would have seen it a lot, because it's all over hippie culture.
Yeah, I guess
No, that's a... Okay. If we were in the 20s, I'd question it. Why ask why?
Why what? I've just been sitting here in this bar, not doing nothing, mind my own business.
Oh, this is a bar!
Yeah.
This is a really strange bar.
Yeah, because it looks like it's a garage.
Yeah, it's a bar in a garage. That's what it is. Okay, look how far apart they're standing. That's so they can do this.
Yep.
Here we go. Who's going to jump first? Oh, they're going to jump together. Here he goes!
Well, he jumped first.
Well, he jumps and Wolverine doesn't jump because he's going to do the pouncy thing.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Is that a thing Sabertooth does in the comics? Does he run on all 4s?
Well, honestly, I thought he did. I never thought to question that, but...
I mean, it's a fine stylistic choice.
I haven't read a
guess.
bunch of stuff with Sabertooth, so
Yeah, I mean, Sabertooth is around way less than you would think. He doesn't show up fighting Wolverine until Mutant Massacre. And like
he does have at least one miniseries all his own.
Yeah. But like the whole Sabertooth Wolverine, like Wolverine and Sabertooth, their first confrontation outside Mutant Massacre is Wolverine 10.
Which would have been 1990?
Maybe like 88, maybe a little bit earlier than that.
No, because the first issue is 89.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
So, you're right. That's like
the first
1990.
issue of Wolverine is 89.
So yeah,
I own that.
A lot of that Wolverine.
Forgive me if
stuff,
I'm wrong about that, but the last time I checked, it was 89.
A lot of Wolverine Sabertooth stuff comes from, I guess, the 90s. That's weird. That seems wrong to me, but yeah.
But it also makes sense how popular, like thinking of them as arch nemesis becomes. And I mean,
because it's in the animated series and
yeah, and if you think about it, and remember, or as you're always talking about, they borrow a lot of real recent stuff from that series, and also. It's that book is creating its own new mythology for Wolverine, so it kind of makes sense that the idea of him as Wolverine's arch nemesis happens in his own solo book. It's just that his solo book happens real late.
Yeah. Oh, it's weird because you think of that.
You know what I think you're thinking? I think the reason maybe you thought 87 or 88 is because I think that's when the mini is.
The Miller mini.
Yes.
No, I think the Miller mini's earlier than that, because I think the Miller mini's before he goes to DC and does Dark Knight Returns, and Dark Knight Returns is 86, so I think that might be 84, 85, but then there would be a gap until the ongoing.
Yeah, the question is just how big is that gap, yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because, and maybe this is just because we grew up with the 90s cartoon, but we always think that, like, Sabretooth and Wolverine, like, that's always the thing.
I expect to pick up an X-Men comic from, 1979 and see
Sabertooth
fighting Wolverine, yeah.
And Sabertooth starts as an Iron Fist villain.
Really?
Yep. He's in that the Iron Fist trade I just got. That's the first, like, whatever, his entire original... Yeah. He starts as an Iron Fist villain.
88. So it's right on the cusp there.
That's when the Miller one is?
No, that's when the ongoing.
Okay, starts.
That I'm talking about, yeah.
Okay, so it's in the...
I thought it was 89. It's probably late 88.
Okay, so 89 is probably when when Sabertooth and Wolverine first fight in issue 10. So yeah, that's real late when you think about it. I mean, Claremont leaves in 92.
It goes without saying, and I talk about this in the Rewind, how insanely convoluted this villain plot is. This mass manipulation plot. I kind of don't want to even have to think about it again. We can talk about it if you want to.
I don't. There's also an interesting...
He sets all this up just to convince him to join the program so that he can turn him into a weapon.
There's also...
It would have been easier... There's easier ways to do that, I think.
Yeah. There's also an interesting thing with that Iron Fist thing and Sabertooth and Wolverine. I don't know if you know this.
Also, it'd be nice... Real quick, it'd be nice if we had a better sense of him so that we would buy that he would be this revenge-driven. Because the only way this plot works is if Stryker knows for sure that if he pretends to put the girl in danger, because remember, she comes back, she doesn't have to die, that he'll want to go after... And I mean, we always do this in movies, where if you do that to someone, no matter who they are, they always want revenge. But I mean, I need to know that character better. He doesn't seem to have that kind of temper to me.
Yeah, especially because he makes a big deal about, like, not being a killer and not wanting to do that.
Yeah,
he's not in a lot of wars to get to that point.
But forgive me, go ahead.
So John Byrne, we actually don't see Wolverine's face for a while. I think there's some kind of confusion. Well, like, John Byrne designs a face for Wolverine because we hadn't seen him under the mask, or he thought we hadn't, and he was like, "This is what Wolverine's going to look like." And Cliff Claremont was like, "Well, Dave Cockrum did this design. We've already used it in the comic. This is what Wolverine looks like." So the face John Byrne originally designed for Wolverine, he gives to Sabertooth.
Oh, that's cool.
So they're like intrinsically, or Sabertooth is intrinsically tied to Wolverine.
That overhead close-up shot of his face lying on the metal is one of the first shots we got for this movie.
Oh yeah,
we keep bringing those up, so I thought of it.
And this is such a non-moment.
Yes,
we should have built to this. This should have been a big deal. I also think this could have been the opening of the movie. Not this movie, but like if you were going to do a Wolverine origin story, you start with him on the table, and you tell the story from there forward.
And of course, I got this wrong in the rewind, and I talked about it later when I did the video about mistakes I made, when I did the No Price video. But he in X2, we make it really clear, and I had forgotten about it when I did the rewind, that he volunteered for this. And so we have to contrive some way for him to do that if we're being careful about continuity. And of course, this makes weird continuity mistakes. So, like, I don't know. If we got a better movie out of it, I would have been fine with him contradicting that.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we got a better movie out of it. If we were going to make those kind of mistakes anyway. But then, I'm asking a movie to be smarter for the sake of story, and this is the symptom of a larger problem, so of course that happens.
Yeah.
But anyway...
Well, the dog tag saying Wolverine, that's real contrived. Like, you can easily just make that... Well, they're all like Black Ops, they're not going to have their actual names on their dog tags.
That's a great point. Well, and it seems like he was already Black Ops.
Yeah, that's what they were at the beginning. So
why not just give them all code names and have his code name be Wolverine instead of having to be this real sappy thing with his girlfriend that she comes up with? Like, that should be a thing. Oh, I just thought of this. Wow, I never thought of this. I don't like that being a sentimental, romantic thing because Wolverine symbolizes the animal he doesn't want to be, and so, I mean, he will continue to call himself that later because he tames the beast and realizes he has to use it, so he will begrudgingly continue to use that name for a reason, but it needs to start as a real negative, bad thing.
Yeah. Well, and...
Don't you think?
And
Stryker should come up with it. And that feels like a thing Stryker would come up with, you know?
Yeah.
Like and Stryker thinks of, especially by the time we get to X2, because again, I don't know how the timeline works with his son, but like, Stryker should come up with Deathstrike and Wolverine and Deadpool.
Yeah.
He sees these as weapons and not people, so he names them like you'd name a weapon. Wolverine sounds like the name of like a Air Force jet, or a gun, or a Bowie knife.
And making it the sentimental thing is kind of weird, because like if their relationship had gone a different way, would he have named himself like Teddy Bear or like Love Muffin, Like, if it was anything less cool than that was her pet name for him. It's like, oh, you're my, whatever.
You know what else? This is still a real TV movie.
Yeah, it really is.
I've never had that thought before, and now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it.
And 70s TV? Like, this is the movie I would expect them...
Around Incredible Hulk.
Yes.
Except not as good as that.
Not as good as that. This is the movie I would expect them to make, like,
I'd still say a late 90s thing. It's more like Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., I think.
Sure. Although I don't think Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is representative of TV movies at the day. That's just a real bad TV movie.
Yes, but it's trying to be paced like a big screen action movie, and it's just
it's like it's designed for commercials. It knows it's going to live on FX for 10 years.
You mean this?
So, yeah, this.
Yeah, you're right.
Like it's designed for commercials.
Oh, that's funny.
Also, this is all shot way less ominous and cool than it was in X2.
Yeah, especially because those are just snippets of it.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. That's a set they had to build and everything. And of course, I don't know if you've thought about this, because this is the first time I've thought about this, but it's kind of neat that we get those snippets like they built a whole set for it, but of course we actually go to the set at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
And then it's redressed. Like, that might sound like a really obvious thing to say, but I've never really put that together. Like, oh, they built that set to be used in the third act.
And the color scheme is green there, and it's not here. It's blue here.
This all looks different, too.
And and this is a really minor thing.
The aesthetic is similar.
This is a really minor thing. But, so, when we make X2, Wolverine does not have bone claws. And we know this for two reasons. One is, he says, you were always going to, I just gave you claws.
Right. But I gave you claws.
But two is, when we see him, there's blood on the claws. This is the first time they've ever been popped.
And remember the look he does? He goes,
Yeah, he looks at them.
And third, he's mortified by what he sees, and it can't just be, oh my god, they've got metal now. It's gotta be, what the heck is coming out of my hands?
Yep. There's always a moment in the 90s series I liked where he's in the tube, and he's like, there's something wrong with my hands, they're itchy. And then they pop out, and he's like, what's that?
So this is one of the most counterintuitive choices in any superhero film I've ever seen.
Those look bad.
They actually say, well, and we will just keep saying.
Oh! I know. We're gonna get to the Roger Rabbit
because
clause.
one of the things I always complain, I forgot that line was there, and that makes it worse somehow.
What's he upset about? What did he jump? What's he running out for? He knew what he signed up. He knew what was going to happen. Like what's happening?
No, and that's what I'm going to talk.
Okay,
that's what I'm about to talk about. The reason he wakes up and runs off is because he hears Stryker say he's going to take his memory away. Oh. That is the craziest, most counterintuitive choice when you're making a Weapon X movie. That's why he runs.
And it's also...
So what is that there to make the audience go, oh wow, how are you going to do it? It's different from the comics. It's different from how we expected. What I always complain about, I forgot that line was there. I've always complained that, well, in X2 they say he will have no memory, so clearly they intended to take his memory and that's how he loses it. They intend it here, too. By the way, this is Ma and Pa Kent, and they should be finding the spaceship.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor there. We are all of a sudden in the middle of Richard Donner, Superman.
Yeah.
What did we do there? But no, that's why he's running away.
And when we get to the I know how to take his memory, it's shooting him in the head!
Oh, I know. And
it's not like a process or like...
That is the single dumbest thing. And he knows it will do it.
He somehow knows it's going to work.
Yeah, that adamantium onto an adamantium skull equals erases his... And, like, it's what he always wanted because he knows too much or whatever. What? Oh, no, I guess he wants to erase his memory because then he can control him. But, like, they just now thought of that? Obviously, and this isn't just comic book, I would have assumed based on X2 even, that's part of the process. They intend to take his memories away.
Well, and it makes more sense
in the first place. Not
if they take his memories away.
He just comes up with it. Stryker's like, I have an idea.
And if they take,
light bulb switch
and if they
from
take
Charlie.
his memories away during the procedure, like that makes sense with X2. Here, why does he remember waking up with adamantium claws? It's well before his memories are wiped. Why are those snippets of memories he has? Those should be his first memories. He's waking up in the tank and bursting out, right?
What do you mean, like in X2?
Yeah, in X2 he remembers that scene, right?
Sure.
Okay, so if you take his memories away during the procedure... That makes sense. Those were his first memories.
But not here. He's got all this stuff that happens in between.
But for some reason, he's not going to remember any of that.
But you could.
Oh, here they come! Here they come! Oh boy!
You could say it's because of trauma. That's a memory that is more likely to come back as a trauma. And here's the thing. Remember that memories are. Oh boy.
This is what he's doing. For some reason, they just wouldn't put practical claws on him, and these look awful.
But yeah, memories are triggered by senses much of the time.
Okay.
And he remembers that because he sees Stryker's face, and it brings it back for him. And also being at Alkali Lake, that brings more of it back. I see what you're saying. I don't think that's as big of a problem as you're making it out to be necessarily.
No, I'm just saying it works better and makes more sense. They just take his memories away when they do the procedure.
It makes you question it less, yeah. And that's supposed to be funny, I guess?
Yeah.
What?
He just shows up with it.
This happened. I mean, I feel like, Wolverine, he's a man of few words.
Yeah.
How are you going to explain that if you're not going to just pop him out? Yeah. And then she would freak out and run away and...
Yeah. So I'm attuned.
Came from Toontown. Just my claws. You don't have any dip lying around, do you? We can fix this problem real quick. It's Dip! So I want him to just be Kal-El, and Mom Pa Kent here to just raise him now, and...
Yep.
I think this is the first time I've had that thought, and it's, like, so obvious.
This is the first time in this movie we established that he knows and likes motorcycles. That's not a thing before this scene?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be a thing he knows.
And so that's sillily contrived.
And that makes sense for his character, but
in 3 seconds, he's going to go find a motorcycle conveniently.
Well, and why has it come up before this moment?
Because
when he's living his life, why doesn't he have a motorcycle?
And this is why you shouldn't have all those characters at the beginning. And that's why I have to complain about even the mutants at the beginning and not just the ones at the end, Eric. Because we haven't spent enough time with him to learn anything about him. But also, simultaneously, he seems to have had enough screen time that we should have known more about him.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe screen not the problem. We're not...
The story is him. They're playing it over.
And they've already started doing that.
This reminds me of a cover for a Wolverine comic that Greg Rucka wrote. He does like 18 issues on Wolverine. I've never read that run, but I'd like to.
Yeah.
But that looked kind of like a cover from that. Because there's a number of shots from this that are just covers or panels. When he runs his claws on the ground, that's one of the early Ultimate X-Men issues, and one of the first images we saw of Ultimate X-Men, back when he had his soul patch. I don't know if you remember that. Ultimate Wolverine had a soul patch.
No, I remember that. And that's that silly black costume.
I don't hate that costume.
Oh, I do.
Really?
I like it at all.
Why?
I just always thought it looked really goofy.
It's just a black shirt with like yellow on it.
No, I thought it was like a jumpsuit.
I don't think so.
It was like a full-blown jumpsuit. I mean, I might be thinking of a different thing. Also, that design... Here's the thing. I don't know that I've ever looked at that in comic books. The design with the soul patch was used on a lot of, like, peripheral products to sell X-Men and Wolverine, and they probably just gave him a stupid jumpsuit, and that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. Because it's kind of just like a regular superhero shirt.
Okay. Here. I'm thinking of things like the Overpower card game, which gave him that patch, and I think it had a stupid...
Well, and for some reason, the Ultimate costume gets really popular, and he starts wearing it in normal comics for like 3 months, and it's what they give him later in X-Men Evolution.
Yeah.
And, like, I
thought I remembered that, but I haven't seen more than a few episodes here and there of Evolution.
I don't have a problem with that costume, but I don't get why that would become the ubiquitous costume. Oh, Mom, Pop, Cat, and their dad.
Yeah. And of course, they're just really generic, nice old folks. Ooh, that looks bad.
Yeah. That looks like a TV movie.
Wow.
If they'd just taken a, like, separate route home, they would have found Kal-El, and their lives would have been much better.
Yeah, this is what if Mom Pop Cat found Wolverine.
And it's the 70s! Like, it is literally the era of Richard Donner's Superman.
Yeah, it looks like he stepped into a different time. Oh, no, it is the 70s.
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
It is
the 70s.
Oh, he motorcycles out of there because he's so cool! That looks bad. The special effects in this are unacceptable for the day.
Yeah, I'm saying this mostly action-wise when I say this, but also partly story. This movie is if Ang Lee's Hulk and the Elektra movie had a baby. That's what it is.
Yep.
I'm also looking at a helicopter as I'm saying that.
Yeah, but it's only one, and we're seeing it from, the angle it's being shown from.
Eric, every time it's more painful.
Oh, so he also gets this jacket from them?
Right. And then he loses it, and then he never gets it back.
Yep. This
is great origin for the jacket.
Well,
I'm not saying it's great. That was being facetious. Oh, this is great origin for the jacket. Do I need to do that? Like, for you to tell if I'm being sarcastic, do I need to do one of these? Do I have to, like, wave my hand?
That'd be helpful. I actually saw a guy not too long ago that had this jacket. It looks cool.
Yeah, I mean, I
would kind of like that jacket.
Yeah, sure.
But
Steve Baxi
probably
buys jackets from superhero movies. Not like the actual props,
but
replicas, and wears them. He's got the Smallville jacket.
I saw the coolest jacket the other day. It was a leather jacket that was designed like the Winter Soldier cap suit. It was the coolest thing.
I think Steve has a Winter Soldier jacket too.
Yeah,
right?
that's Ultimate, but it's also real dumb. Did that help him turn?
I guess it helped him turn. At least he doesn't have to call the
and that's like a shot
Batmobile
that in the
parachute pickup service.
In the trailer, you can shoot just his hand in the ground and like it looks cool. Like I feel like that was a shot in the trailer. A lot of this sequence was in the trailer. Because this is where we loaded all of our cool shots of Wolverine.
I know we do. Yeah, you're right. It's all this shot, and the thing where he jumps out of the helicopter, or onto the helicopter, and all of that. Which we're just about to get actually, or is it just after this? I forget. Anyway,
that was a great face.
No, there it is.
Yeah,
that was in the trailer. So this is, in fact, all of this was in the trailer. They kind of just gave us this whole helicopter bit.
Yeah.
I know this is maybe just a movie logic thing, but I feel the need to mention it anyway. He just got the adamantium claws. I don't think they explained a lot to him about what exactly was going to happen. You can't know just how indestructible you are, and even if you know you're indestructible, you can't know that a thing like putting your claws in the ground is going to work, turning the motorcycle and stuff. That seems like a thing you would only try if you'd been Wolverine for a while. Like if you'd had the adamantium skeleton for a while.
Did you see that? He had it was a deep cut, but it was just a cut.
Yeah.
And there was metal. Like, you could see his skull.
Yeah.
That wasn't a deep enough cut for that. And Agent Zero here is a comic book character. He's called Maverick.
So do they not understand the full extent of his powers? Because they seem to think he's easier to kill than he is.
Yeah, it's weird, but they would have to because that's the only reason they can put adamantium in him.
To put the adamantium in him. Now, I don't think it's a misstep to make this a revenge thriller necessarily. We're just not going after the right guy.
Yeah.
And if it was
setting up the right way.
Here's the thing.
But it's also... You can't do that for the origin.
You made Stryker... Well, here's the thing. He could go after Stryker and lose and not remember it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess potentially you could do that. Stryker doesn't tell him everything in X2. There's no reason he couldn't have gone after him and failed.
But...
I don't get... Well, no, because...
Because he has to go into the procedure willingly.
I'm saying after that... But that's only
memories of that.
Yeah, but not in this movie because he gets him because he loses him at the end. So if you're doing that stupid thing, and that is my favorite go-to for
guys don't look at explosions.
Yeah, and like bad examples of it. How do you know that? And how do you know he won't be able to heal from it?
And he immediately goes to... Okay, that guy made that gun to take him down.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, skeleton's made adamantium. Adamantium bullets. That's fine.
Not entirely, though, man. I'm telling you, just because it's indestructible doesn't mean he can't heal from it.
Oh, no. But what I mean is, he made that gun with the idea of, okay, well, he's made of adamantium, I'll make adamantium bullets. That we could take him down with that. That's whatever, but... What was he planning before that to get rid of his memory? Because he didn't seem to know that gun with the bullets existed before that guy opened the case.
And he didn't seem to be planning to take his memory in the first place. I know! We'll take his memory! The scientist next to him should have been like, we don't have a way to do that. Or tell us how they're going to do it.
This doesn't make sense.
No, I know. I agree.
How old is he?
Like 16?
Okay, I don't remember when 3 Mile Island happens, but 3 Mile Island is an actual event that we know the exact date of. And he should be like 40 in X-Men. Or pushing 40.
Yeah.
And who gave him...
Because it'd be like, what, 25 years maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
And who gave him the ruby quartz glasses? Like, this movie almost seems to work on the idea that just glasses stop his optic blast.
Yeah, but they're that color for a reason.
Yeah. Hey, Will.i.am.
Yeah, there are... I mean, we say this with a lot of X-Men movies. There's way too many characters in this movie for no good reason. And I don't think a lot of these characters, X-Men fans, are necessarily going, oh, cool, you put that character in there.
No. No one was like, oh, cool, you put Cyclops in.
Well, I'm talking about some of these minor characters.
Well, and I don't know this character, whoever Will.i.am is playing. But when this movie came out, I looked him up, and he looks exactly like this.
Really?
He is right off the page. I forget what his name is. But yeah. Why Will.i.am? Has he been in other things? Like, was he building an acting career before this?
I don't know. I think his performance is hilarious.
It is! It's like they were like, hey, you know that guy from the Black Eyed Peas? Let's put him in here. Why not?
With the voice he's doing, again, at the risk of maybe accidentally sounding racist, I don't know how this would, but I don't know, I get on pins and needles about that sometimes. The voice he's doing, he sounds like he looks to sound like he'd be exactly the right guy for the blaxploitation Blade. Wait, no, you know what he sounds like? He sounds like he's trying to do a Mr. T.
That is what he sounds like.
Listen to that! He's doing a Mr. T!
Yeah.
If you had and they did, but Mr. T voiced it, if you had a new Mr. T animated series, that'd be your guy.
Yep.
His name is Wraith.
Man, yeah, Wraith. This looks terrible, and I don't know how you messed this up, because this looks worse than it did in the Austin Powers movies.
And that was rough.
Yeah.
But that was at least
it was a comedy
and a parody, and it knew it looked bad, and it didn't care, and it was making a big deal out of, oh look, it's Mike Myers again.
Yeah. You just call me Bob.
It's such a bad idea. And
I love that he just goes, no.
Did you just call me Blob?
His reaction is perfect. He knows what movie's in. Which, by the way, he hasn't said this entire movie.
Yeah, but now he's saying it. Of course, we have to have an origin for everything. Maybe that's the first time he ever says Bob.
You would think he wouldn't say it again after
He'd never
this.
say it again. Rafe should be like, yeah, don't do that again. That's how he would say it. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, just don't ever do that again. Don't do that. I'm Mr. Smallety. He's doing Mr. T. Was this necessary? Why is this in this movie?
Who needed Blob in this movie?
And of course, this is supposed to be a movie, and I say supposed to because they talk about it like it is throughout the film, about a guy who's fighting the animal inside. This is like minutes after he escapes Weapon X.
Yep. Well, no, it's not minutes after, because he has the whole thing with Mom and Pa Kent. It's probably a day or two.
Like, I mean, us, the viewing audience.
Oh, you mean for the film itself.
Minutes after we saw him in Weapon X,
yes.
and we're here already. We're doing this stuff.
Yep.
It's like,
they don't know what tone
we're trying to be
doing.
all things to all people, so we make this really goofy choice to not have him have his memories wiped when you would expect them to, so that we can do this kind of stuff.
And they shot that like the way they shoot their cool action scenes. Like him like getting up and hitting them on the head. Like that's the same exact way they shoot the action
Like
stuff.
It's a big epic.
Yeah. Did you ever have to do this in school?
I don't remember.
Because I didn't. This was never a...
I don't remember doing it on a blackboard. I remember having to write sentences at least once or twice in a notebook.
But as punishment?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I also went to a private school for a while, and it was probably there. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And the school system, and even the public school system in Arkansas was a little bit more strict than the one in Kansas. So we had more of those kind of old school kind of punishments. I mean, when I was in school in Arkansas, there was still some corporeal punishment left.
Oh, okay.
They'd still spank kids and stuff.
Okay. So he just burned the side of that building. I'm gonna say this for the millionth.
Corporal punishment is the correct term. Excuse me. I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this for the millionth time.
Yeah.
Optic blasts are not heat based.
Yeah.
They're force based.
And of course, that foreshadows the Deadpool head severed and spinning.
Yep.
And taking out that whole silo thing at the end, or whatever that is.
I think it is a silo.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to take over for a couple minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay. With this movie?
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I'll be right back.
No problem, man. Taylor vs. Hartnell, that'd be a good place to throw in some, like, Wolverine writers as a cameo or something, but no. Do, like, Hama versus another Wolverine writer. Peter David, I don't know. Hammer versus David, something like that. I don't remember what their deal is, or if it's supposed to be a mystery at this point. I'm only half paying attention to this movie, I'm being entirely honest. I think his deal is that he's going to get Adamantium too, but I don't remember. You know, it's weird he's doing all these experiment stuff, but like he never mentions his kid. I think that'd be kind of integral. So, the Blob's power in this is that he's big and strong, and he lets himself go, and he gets fat. I don't even know what to do with that. Is he still super strong? Does he just naturally have super strength? Because it's clearly the mutant power is not that he's physically fit, but he doesn't seem super strong. In the comics, Blob's whole thing is that like he can't be moved. He's just like a mass. Why do you know that? Yeah, I know that's all you know, but why do you know it and how do you know it? These claws look awful every time. That was a bad line. And they most like riding together like buddies, like because they're like parallel, like they're just keeping with each other. They have the conversation, they're talking. Rue Bourbon. You alright?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. The alcohol bad thing?
No!
Okay.
I'm real congested right now. Anyway, hi everybody. Hey everybody, it's mailbag day. Oh.
We're
It's not mailbag day.
we're about to get to Gambit.
Gambit.
So, have you seen Taylor Kitsch in much else?
Huh.
Okay, so he's in John Carter, he's in Friday Night Lights. He's not a bad actor. He seems real bad at picking projects. And he looks okay for this role. I just don't know if he has the presence for the character.
Not the presence. I don't even totally hate his voice.
No, I like that he's at least trying at like an accent. But I think it goes in and out. Doesn't he just stop doing that at a certain point?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Take a gander at that ladder, because that's going to be important.
Yep. And
but
we're
you know,
still...
I'm now that you've mentioned the guy who played Sawyer, I'm kind of imagining him in this role. He would have had more presence, but I'm not sure if he would have done Cajun. I kind of think he would have just done the same accent he does in that show.
Kind of a thing, yeah. Well, and
but maybe he could do that. I don't know.
And I mean, this isn't really fair to Taylor Kitsch because he's given terrible material, and with a director that clearly isn't very good.
Yeah.
Or at least isn't good here. I've never seen any of his other films. I think it's Gavin Hood. I've not seen any of Gavin Hood's other films.
He is on par with Mark Steven Johnson.
As a director for superhero films.
That's what I think.
Yeah. Because I want to say he did like a war film or something people liked. I might be wrong. Because I looked into him when he first
I just mean of the...
Yeah.
Comparing this to other superhero movies.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because I looked into him when this first came out.
There's some kind of Ghost Rider here too. Like,
yeah, no, there's a lot. You're right. I wouldn't have thought of that, but you're right. There's a lot of Ghost Rider here. That's not bad, dialogue-wise. It's not delivered well, but...
I don't dislike Liev Schreiber.
No. I think he's good casting. And again, better director, better material. I think he would have been great.
Yeah. I'm just not sure any of these... I don't think any of these actors really get this material, because I don't think there's any getting this material.
That's not how Gamut's powers work.
No, not at all.
He does stuff like that in the comics, but that's because you're looking at a panel. It's just supposed to be like him, like, doing the shuffle kind of a thing.
That's
He's
all
not
it is.
kinetically controlling... His power is not card-based.
Yeah, which is just the goofiest thing.
Yeah.
I can do this with paper. I want to see him do cool things with paper airplanes.
I'm noticing a running thing with this movie.
That they're going to run at each other. That's the running thing.
Well,
the running thing is that they run at each other. Yeah, right? I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have a lot of characters whose powers seem to be built around physical objects. We have sword-based powers, gun-based powers,
light bulbs
card-based
turning on and
powers.
off.
Yeah. Like, their mutations are really specifically, like, requiring things to exist in the world.
Already.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing that and it's not to have too many characters like that, because that's what I always say. Here it comes. The running is always funny. Eric, it's the thing that always made me laugh about Bishop. You're lucky you live in a future where you're constantly being shot at by energy-based weapons.
Yeah.
Because if you existed in the 1600s, you'd never be able to use that. You wouldn't even know you had superpowers.
Well, theoretically...
It's the same thing with the light bulb thing.
But theoretically, he does exist in a world where people are shooting energy all the time. And so his mutation, theoretically, if we're viewing mutation as like an evolutionary thing for survival, which mutation is never in X-Men, but if we're thinking about it like that, he's evolving to deal with a world where everyone's shooting energy bolts from their hands.
Yeah, but how many mutants actually do that specifically? I mean, I guess
when Bishop is created, like 90% of them.
Yeah,
like the 90s was all about people shooting energies from their hands.
No, you're right. Dazzler has that. What is Dazzler's power?
Dazzler, something with light. It's some kind of light conduction thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Jubilee's got it. She's got those fireworks. And now we're fighting now.
Yeah, and we're treating this like the typical superhero team-up, where they've got to fight and then they'll be friends.
Yep. I'm not sure why they're fighting, because the whole thing is that he thinks Wolverine's working with Victor.
Excuse, but which they were just fighting. I think I probably talked about that.
Here it comes. What is this? It's like a cartoon. It's literally like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah. That made more sense to me in the theater.
It's like...
Because he's trying to knock the scaffolding down, but isn't it falling already?
Yeah, it's falling.
It's already falling, so you don't need to do that. Just wait for it to drop.
It's like...
Why doesn't Gambit just jump off it?
It's like bad directors / competent directors / probably good directors that just don't want to be working on these kinds of movies. It's like once they get this material, superhero movies in general, they're like... Well, nobody cares. We'll just do it like a cartoon. Like, obviously that's what they did with Batman and Robin, but like, that's how Ghost Rider works. That's how Daredevil kind of works, at least physics-wise.
Sure.
It's like, well, nobody cares.
Well, and there are movies where that more absurd, cartoony action, even if it's a somewhat more serious movie, works because of how unrealistic the world is.
Like Sin City.
And even Batman Forever. Like...
Yeah.
Know, the cable with the car that drives up the building, the Batmobile that drives up the building, like, I don't mind that in that movie.
No.
It's a super stylized, this does not exist, it's a four-color world kind of thing.
But this feels like a generic movie, and then we have these cartoon elements.
That they're not even really having fun with.
Yeah.
There's a lot of kind of pretending to have fun in this movie.
Yeah?
Like the blob fight is like that?
Yeah.
Like, we're trying to convince the audience of all kinds of things we're not actually doing. We're trying to convince them of a love story. We're trying to convince them of this of a lot of dramatic elements, and then we're trying to convince them that the action is fun, but we're not actually making fun action because we're not making a movie we want to make. We're making a movie where we're trying to guess at what the audience wants.
Yeah, and this feels really studio mandated. Like
exactly.
I wonder if there was an earlier draft of this script that is a story and is good, and then like, well, but you have to put X-Men characters that people know, so put Cyclops in there, and put Gambit in there, and then you gotta do this, and you gotta do this. Oh, but don't make it too dark, so have this fight with the Blob. Like, I wonder if that's what this movie feels. This feels like a really meddled with movie.
Yes, absolutely. I want to see the conversation that gets us to Wolverine doesn't lose his memories till the end of the movie.
Mm.
I want to know how
shot
that
in the head.
choice happens. Well, I mean, that I can kind of see how that we're being so lazy with how we're contriving things that it's just we just look for an easy thing and it has to be animanium because, oh cool, you have animanium in your Wolverine movie. You know what I mean? But like the real question is, how do you do something so counterintuitive as having the memory loss happen at the end of the film?
Yeah. And then it goes, Wolverine Begins.
Like, it's not a Wolverine. I mean, it's not a Weapon X movie.
No, but it thinks it is.
I also think you could do Wolverine. I also think you could do Weapon X in a PG-13 movie and still have it.
Oh, I agree.
Be darker than this.
Especially post Dark Knight.
And again, as I always say, I don't say dark because dark makes everything better. That's a dark story. Like,
yeah.
And they're pretending like they're telling a dark story. There's just a lot of pretending in this movie.
Yeah. They're pretending that they have a deep and meaningful story.
Boy, this is harder to watch every time I see it.
Yeah. Well, now him and Gambit are friends. He's going to fly him over there because... And then Gambit's going to go away for the third act of this movie, and he's going to come back because... Well, that's horrifying.
Oh, that looked really bad. You couldn't just stick a blade in there? It had to be a CG blade through a door?
It's like...
I never noticed that. We went that... What?
It's like when they made this movie, they were like, well...
And they have physical props in this. There are a couple of shots of real blades.
Are there?
Yes.
Okay. Then never mind what I was about to say. I was going to say, it's like they made this movie, they're like, we are to a point technologically where we don't actually need physical props. And then like they're like, wait, how much is our budget?
I swear to God.
But we shot all these scenes without claws.
I swear to God, the first close-up of the claws when he first gets the metal over them, it looks like more like the claws in Days of Future Past. And it looks like they're actually there. And part of the reason I'm saying that has to be physical, I'm almost positive, the color and the texture is entirely different.
Yeah.
And one of them looks like it's actually in the frame. I mean, they're cartoon claw.
No, sometimes, like in the bathroom, it legitimately looks like Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
It looks like somebody drew a cartoon.
And I knew about that, but I didn't know they were so lazy as to... And that's not even... I can't even say they were lazy. You had to render it. Like, just get a blade in a door and do this and you're done.
Well, it's funny because, we talked about this movie leaked early, and they said, like, oh, the special effects weren't done. It doesn't seem like they finished any of them.
Finished them.
Because people were complaining about some of those claws.
I would like to go back and see that version and see if it's the same or not.
Because people were complaining about some of those claws. A lot of those claws.
Maybe it was finished.
Yeah. That is the finished film. And I remember hearing about this and being like, there's no way that's actually what the movie is. Like, you guys are making this up. And there's also... I do a review for Hulk vs. Wolverine at some point. And I say which is for some reason one of the most viewed videos I ever did. And I say, I complain about how much time we waste on...
Oh man, she's in the league.
Yep.
So now he's going to have a really tragic backstory because that wasn't a real romance. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Sorry,
but I remember saying, I was complaining about how much time we waste on Weapon X in that movie.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to be a Hulk movie, theoretically. And I said, why are we wasting time doing this? The movie's out next year and we know it's going to be better than this. I was wrong.
Yeah.
Hulk versus Wolverine is a way better version of this story.
Yeah, it is. Even with Deadpool in the middle of it. I think Deadpool's in the middle of it, or is he in a different vignette?
Well, Deadpool's in it. And that's one of the first times Deadpool like is in a movie, and like people are like, oh man, like it's weird. I think Hulk versus Wolverine is one of the biggest things that like jump starts Deadpool.
Yeah,
that and Ultimate Alliance. Those are like the first two places.
And
like,
he's not that far off from how we characterize him in things now.
Yeah, no, and he's funny in that. I like him in that.
Yeah. Something I was gonna. So you keep saying that the claws look like they come from Toontown. I mean, to the point where you expect them to just start singing like Frank Sinatra, right?
Yep. And I don't want to be mean to this actress. She's not good. They needed a good actress for this role. And isn't it weird? Like, I mean, he's somebody, and Liev Schreiber or some. I don't know. I guess,
there's a lot of working actors.
Yeah,
in this movie.
Who is she?
And again, she looks like a TV actress.
She does.
Like a
and she plays it like a TV actress. Yeah. Like a made-for-TV actress.
But again, we're not. I mean, maybe there are those made-for-TV actresses. I don't know.
If there are, she is one.
Somewhere. Yeah, they came out of. See, that sounds really mean, and I apologize to that actress. And she's given no material to work with, just like everybody else in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, she looks dazed and confused. Excuse me, sorry, I'm a little congested. I apologize for the sounds I'm making. Sorry, excuse me, I'm sorry.
So take your dog tags off and say you're Wolverine because you're not Wolverine anymore.
Boy, that whole... Thematically, this is so muddled now with what we're doing with the name and...
Yep.
That's not a thing I've really thought a lot about. That's really bad. It's probably the real one.
And that could be something if it was like, because of this, I'm going to give in to my animal instincts, because he's like, I'll never do this again. Like, that should be your motivation for joining Weapon X and having your memories, mess with maybe, like, I don't know. This movie is just, it's all kinds of bad.
Just punch me in the face.
Oh, that's right. Her sister's Emma Frost.
Oh, I forgot about that. Which will really not make sense when we get to First Class.
No, and I don't like her in First Class, but she's better than she is here.
Well, she's just kind of standing there in this. Like,
yeah.
They don't actually give her anything to do.
But she's... Emma Frost is a very specific character. They don't nail it in First Class, but she... I mean, there's a couple of things. One is... She just looks like a person here. Emma Frost doesn't look like a person. Like Emma Frost is a beautiful woman that has specifically spent money to craft herself into the most beautiful woman she could possibly be. This just looks like a chick that's, like, jogging, as I recall. Like, the diamonds look bad.
I honestly don't even remember what it looks like. And when this came out, I didn't know anything about Emma Frost, so I wasn't looking for it. I probably didn't even know who she was in the theater, honestly.
And she's a great character, and she's wasted in this movie. I mean, she's wasted a little bit in First Class as well.
In First Class. Third run! Here it comes! See? It's the funniest thing in this movie! They keep running at each other. That's the shtick! That's what we know. Fourth time!
This choreographer never worked again, right? Like, this is just bad choreography.
It's not, yeah, it's rough.
How come there's no blood on your claws? You're just inside of him. Okay.
Well, I mean, we did that.
There's a thing that's supposed to be menacing, but it's not, because he's got these fangs, right?
Yeah.
But when he opens his mouth, it doesn't look like he has fangs. It looks like he's missing the teeth in between.
Oh, you think? I always thought the fangs looked fine.
I don't know. I just had it right here. Like, because I noticed it a little bit before. I'm like, there's something off about those fangs. And then he opens his mouth right there. I'm like, oh, it kind of looks like you're missing teeth in between.
So, like, their rivalry is just not interesting.
Yeah.
It's all just this like lame one-dimensional performance anxiety thing where like I'll be as uncrass as possible, but it's basically his is bigger than mine. I mean, that's all it is, and I don't like. I don't know that I could get behind Wolverine has better healing factor than his healing factor.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how that works. Is that comic book?
Maybe. But I don't think he has a complex about it.
Yeah, he's got a complex about it.
Well, and it's this real weird thing of just like.
I mean, I guess he just found out, but still,
but that's how he acts the whole movie.
Yeah, exactly. Weapon 11.
That's actually, you can blame Grant Morrison for that.
I don't actually mind that.
No, I think Weapon 11 is actually Fantomex. I think he's technically Weapon 11. He might be Weapon 12, something like that.
I don't know much about Fantomex, but I love the look of that character.
You know why you love the look of that character? He's based on a Danger Diabolic.
Oh, have we had this conversation?
I believe so.
I'm not sure. Yeah, is he actually based on Danger Diabolic?
Aesthetically.
Yeah.
Yep. Grant Morrison said he intentionally.
Oh,
I always
cool.
thought this was supposed to be Quicksilver. He's got blonde hair. He's moving super fast. I don't know if it's supposed to be Quicksilver, but that's what I assumed.
And then this music comes back, and
he's doing this thing with his face. He's not just running. He's like, "That's so cool."
If Hugh Jackman goes back and watches these movies, this is the one he skips.
Oh, absolutely. See, look, she just looks like a girl. She looks like a girl who goes jogging at night. Like, that's not what Emma Frost looks like.
That's just because of what she's wearing.
No,
and because she's young.
Yeah.
No, because she's young.
Yeah.
She could develop into. She's a pretty girl. If you dressed her up and put her in the right clothes.
Maybe it is just that she's young that it bothers me.
Yeah, that's all it is, I think, Eric.
And she also doesn't seem to have psychic powers in this film. She just has the diamond abilities, which is interesting because...
Or does she just not use the psychic power? Maybe she doesn't know about them yet. I mean, she is really young.
Well, it's interesting because the diamond powers don't show up until Morrison. Pre-Morrison, she is just a psychic.
She's just a psychic.
Yeah, that's why she doesn't diamond up in the 90s cartoon. Morrison comes or does the diamond thing when he introduces the whole secondary mutation thing. How does he do this? I don't know how he does this.
Yep.
They're so long.
I've always said that. Yeah, I don't get it either. And not only are they're so long. I think they might even be longer than his arms. Like, I think maybe they should even come out his shoulders. I'm not sure. See, get it? It's clever because Deadpool doesn't stop talking.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he said earlier, you'd be the perfect soldier if only you could like shut that mouth.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
So, obviously, this design is just goofy, and I don't like it any more than anybody else does. But it's not because it's not Deadpool. I've talked about this before. You and I have had this conversation. Yeah. But when I did my top 10 most shafted characters list, I left Deadpool off of it intentionally. Partly because that wasn't a character I knew a lot about at the time, and so I didn't feel like I had a dog in the fight, and that was like a personal list, you know. But I wouldn't put it on there now either. Partly because Deadpool's gotten a great movie now, but also because and this is a controversial thing to say, but I don't think it's necessarily a problem if you were to get Deadpool after this. I mean, again, I don't like what it looks like and stuff, but
this
people
was the
hated it because
version.
This isn't Deadpool. Well, he's not Deadpool. Like I think they do call him that at the end, right?
Yeah, because he's a pool of all of the powers.
And like that. Yeah, that sucks and that's stupid. But like, you have the after credit scene where his mouth opens up, and then he can become the real Deadpool after that. This could just be a weird step in getting us to a good Deadpool. And yeah, it's problematic if we never actually get to see Deadpool. On the other hand, do you want that character in this movie?
No, he shouldn't have been in this movie at all, period.
Yeah.
Yeah. End of sentence.
So, like, people that love... It is a silo. So, like, people that love Deadpool were upset because, he's finally in a movie and you did this to him. That's fair. I understand that. But, like, I couldn't get worked up about it because he shouldn't be here in the first place. And none of these other side characters are handled any better than he is.
Yeah.
That's not me taking up for this movie. It's still a super weird choice.
Yeah.
It's just the reason I couldn't get worked up about it.
And what was...
And now it's a Mortal Kombat fight.
And what was that? He climbs up, let's see you dance up here. Is it you can't get me? Like, what was his plan when he crawled up?
Well, I'm assuming it's that he thinks he can knock him off.
Well, he seemed annoyed and, like, surprised
this
when he
is a sudden
teleported
death
behind
fight.
him.
Well, yeah. Okay, I have no idea. I'm grasping at straws here, Eric.
Brother!
Thanks for coming, old buddy, old pal!
I don't know if that's a comic book thing, but that's the thing that gets beaten to death in Dragon Ball Z. There's a character who constantly, not in the show, but in the movies, every movie has one arbitrary scene where a character shows up, saves Goku, and goes, "We're not friends, I'm just the only one that gets to kill you." And so, I've always thought that was stupid and left
it's just a fighting game.
Yeah.
This is so funny.
Yeah, they even design it so that you basically have to stand like this.
It looks like a side scroll. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an intentional ring out.
It'd be kind of cool if they shot it like that, maybe. If they were like leaning into it, it was like, we're doing a fighting game.
Now that I'm looking at this again, I'm understanding even more why Deadpool fans were upset about this. Because like, they try to make his face look a little bit like the mask. And so like it goes black around the eyes. Yeah.
There's slits in between the blades. How is he blocking the blast? There's gaps.
This isn't a train wreck. This is like a train station on fire.
This is
this is like a train station exploding.
We talked about that with a different movie. I don't remember what it was, but this is this the end of the movie? It's over?
Did you just realize that?
I thought this fight went on a little bit longer.
And look, it's like Darth Maul. Well, not really, because it doesn't get in the middle. But
yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about making mutants responsible for 3 Mile Island. That's a weird choice.
Yeah, I mean, they make it work with First Class.
Yeah, that's different.
You know, when they do the Cuban Missile Crisis, that's great.
Yeah.
I couldn't get my head around having enough energy to take that whole thing out like that, and that it's still going with his head.
Especially because he can turn it on and off.
What is keeping it going? It is the mutant equivalent, and this is a big movie trope. We do it all the time. It is the mutant equivalent. And his memories won't go back.
But his memories won't go back.
There are no exits that way. Wolverine. But it's the mutant equivalent, the superpower equivalent of a dead person driving and the car like a person driving and they get killed and the car keeps going at the same speed it was. Well, no, your foot would come off the accelerator. We do that all the time. It's the disembodied head version of that. Okay, bye.
Everything on this silo is shot like it's meant for a poster.
Yeah, that's a great point. Especially because it's at twilight and it just stays perpetually, or like it's sunset and it just stays perpetually at sunset.
I was saying something before. I know we said this about a different movie, but never has it been more true than this. This is like if you got a 6-year-old to tell you what Wolverine's origin was, and then you use that as your script. No, I forgot that you were in this movie. Also, I don't know what you did with your stick. That's not your powers.
I don't know what his powers are. I don't know what anybody's powers are in this movie. No one cares about you, and
there are no girls for you that way, Wolverine.
I gotta go lose my memories.
hate
why is
this.
Stryker, like, ultimately it's really funny because Stryker's just obsessed with this great new idea he has. Hey, let's have him lose his memories. Oh, how are we going to solve this problem? He's destroying all our stuff. I know, we'll take his memories.
This is why the Wolverine thing's okay, because it's not that she's bad, it's that she had a sister, and that makes it okay for her to ruin a man's life. And so she did, in fact, love him, and they did enjoy their time together, and...
Even if this was...
Which is
a great love story, and I really liked her, and she didn't turn against him and stuff, that's still not where the Wolverine name and dog tag should come from.
No, I agree.
It's not a problem because she turns on him.
But But given that is the way they went with it, it makes it really silly. Yeah, that's a poster.
That's a poster.
That's a poster.
And now it's a Western.
That's a poster. That's a poster.
That's poster.
That's a poster.
That's a poster.
That's a poster.
That's a little too shaky. That's a poster.
Yep.
That is definitely a poster. That's not a poster. That gives your movie away.
Yeah. And no one would have gone to see it.
Stryker with a gun shooting Wolverine in the head. How does he know it's going to take his memories away? He should be like, you made a gun. Because the thing is, it's supposed to kill him. And if that guy is positive that an animated bullet going through the heart or the head or wherever he thinks he's going to... Because that's the thing is, he's like, that would kill him. Okay, but like, where are you supposed to shoot him?
You've only got 4 of those left. You shouldn't waste on her.
Yeah. Because they're adamantium.
This is also dumb. Her power is persuasion. Why wouldn't she just be like, give me my sister back? Like way before this. Like, why did she ever have to be a bad guy? Why didn't she just be like, give me my sister back?
And then what happens to him?
Well, he's on an island, so my guess is he drowns.
Yeah. But we know that doesn't happen. Like, it's as if, even though this is a prequel and it's trying to set up things for X2, it still knows that the superhero formula is the villain is supposed to die at the end.
Yep.
So yeah, they keep it ambiguous so that you could just try to guess, but it's not like a cool ambiguity.
Oh, here it comes. Oh man. Okay, do you remember how bad he looks in this?
He looks really bad.
Like, X3 looked bad at the beginning. This is 1,000 times worse.
This is gonna be creepy.
And how did he know? Why is he here? Oh, God, look at him.
I don't know if it's any worse than X3 now that I'm looking at it.
It's, like, slightly to the left.
He might as well just be a CG creature. He might as well just be like Tarkin.
Well, and...
In,
I know this is a dumb thing to bring up.
Yeah.
Because everything ignores this movie, even with all of the continuity errors that everything has.
Yeah.
But, he doesn't lose his hair till Apocalypse in the 1980s. And he's
well, yeah, but that's a different timeline.
I know. I'm just making fun of it.
But what makes that really annoying with Apocalypse is, okay, then how did he lose his hair the first time? Did he actually just go bald like a normal person? But
Well, no, there was
a
pre-time, there was a first timeline version of Apocalypse, I'm sure.
Well, maybe so, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But that was a big question I had: was does this happen in the first timeline?
I wouldn't.
And then
so I would think someone would. I would think if that happened the first timeline, we wouldn't open our first movie with "Can mutants be dangerous?"
No, of course. But the problem is the impetus doesn't have anything to do with the paved over timeline. It just happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
If memory serves, we'll talk about it when we get
there.
Well, and because that was a question I had, was if I missed something.
And before timelines,
but anyway.
Before any of the timeline shifting, First Class and Days of Future Past both distinctly ignore this film.
Yes.
There was a distinct choice to ignore this movie.
Yeah, and most fans were saying, obviously, this is now decanonicized.
Yeah. It barely matches with what we already set up, and we'd only had 3 movies.
We've retconned it.
Yeah. And I don't mind that, because it's bad.
No, I don't. I certainly don't.
And I'm sure the Gambit movie won't mention this. Well, if that ever happens.
Well, no, of course not, because it's not like... I mean, we've got characters now that are different ages in different time periods. So, yeah, no, of course we wouldn't acknowledge this.
Obviously, Emma Frost is a
Burning
woman
Man
in the 60s.
Is in two different time periods. Is about the same age. Like,
yep.
I guess we'll have to decide if he's actually Angel in Apocalypse or if he's still just another version of Birdwing Man. We'll have to make that determination.
Oh, it's so sad because you don't know who she is. And that's something that can work. That could be really sad.
Yeah.
That he doesn't remember her.
But as super convoluted and contrived as all this is,
yeah.
it's not.
Well, and we never care about them as a couple.
Right.
I'm just going to leave. I have a helicopter. I don't know how you're leaving, but... no, I have a plane. I don't know how you're leaving, but... because right now, they have forgotten that they are on an island.
Yeah.
They think they were on a standard, like, massive land where you can just leave.
Yeah. Because he's just going to keep walking
until
his feet bleed,
and then
he's going to keep walking. And I don't know what the limits are of her powers. I don't know if it wears off. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can snap somebody out of it. We're not told any of that.
And she's way scarier now post Jessica Jones.
That's true. Mm-hmm. If she tells someone to go screw themselves,
how did they get there? We just saw like a bunch of fire trucks and stuff show up. Oh, I guess there's a bridge. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, there's a bridge. All right. I was being mean, making fun of this movie. It's a brilliant movie.
I don't know why. I kind of feel like there ought to be a scene after that. I'm not sure that's where you end your movie.
Well, we'll get a post-credit scene.
Well,
and
yeah,
I believe the DVD
Deadpool.
only has the Wolverine one. I don't think the DVD... You can access the Deadpool one.
It does.
Does it?
Yeah.
Is it a deleted scene? Or is it an alternate?
No, it's here.
No.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. He keeps walking, and then they do tell us what happens to him. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, I don't remember this at all.
And I don't know what Wolverine scene you're talking about. The only post-credit scene. I forgot all about that. Now that you say that,
that's where where somebody says, "Are you drinking to forget?" And he goes, "Drinking to remember."
Yeah, honestly, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Oh yeah,
I thought that must have just been a scene out here. You keep telling me about that like it's a scene that's in this movie. I didn't remember that.
And then maybe it's the Deadpool one that's in this, and the Wolverine one's not on this. We'll look it up on YouTube if it's not in this. But it's him in a bar in like Tokyo or something.
Okay, but see, that's really weird. Like, okay, so they pick him up, so we know he doesn't just keep walking forever, but they think he's a suspect in a murder case. And then he ends up still being a major general. Like, this is weird.
This is the tone of...
Blade.
Well, this is... I was going to say Mortal Kombat.
Well, that's appropriate with the last act of this movie.
And Baraka.
But no, the Deadpool scene is at the end of this.
Okay, so...
I'm almost positive, because, I took screenshots of it, and I didn't have to go hunt for it when I did the rewind.
I wonder if the Wolverine scene is... That must be the Deadpool scene. I knew that one of the two endings, because there were two.
See, I must have never seen that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to decide if I don't remember it or if I've never seen it. I don't...
There were two endings, and I don't know if it was like film by film or theater by theater, but you got one or the other?
I saw it twice in the theater, and I got the Deadpool ending both times.
I got the Wolverine one. That's how I know it exists. Well, that and I've heard about it. And there was a rumor of a third one.
I may have only seen it once. I don't know.
And there was a rumor of a third ending that didn't exist. Or a third post-credit scene that didn't exist.
Weird.
That also had to do with Deadpool, so I don't know why anyone believed that it would have existed.
It's where the movie gets its one obligatory F-bomb.
Which we haven't started doing.
Dun, 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 dun.
But that is now a staple.
Yeah, not for the X-Men movies.
How do you think they'll handle that?
One shower after that, man. That's.
How do you think they'll handle that in Logan? Are we still just gonna get an obligatory one F-bomb? Do you think that movie's just dark for violence? Do you think they knew they were making a rated R movie?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Oh! I was like, this is... Like, before, when we were talking about this movie, I was like, this is the perfect place for me to talk about my thing, because I have one thing to say about the Logan trailer.
Yeah.
This is a good time to say.
Go ahead, sure.
This is a good time. So...
Sure it is.
I have this theory, because... we know they made a costume for Wolverine for the Wolverine. There was a deleted scene where he opens up a case and there's a costume in it. And
And it looks great.
And it looks great. And the X-23 reads X-Men comic books in the trailer. And when you open them up, they're not X-Men comic books. They're something that kind of looks like X-Men comics, but like Wolverine's costume is nothing that he's ever worn. And my guess
made up for that movie, which is cool.
My guess is that costume is the costume that they made for the Wolverine, and that he's going to wear it by the end of that movie. He's going to become the hero that she wants him to be, and we're going to get a costumed Wolverine in that movie.
Yeah.
That's my guess. So yeah, that's the thing.
To be fair, I did partially help you come up with that, but yeah.
Yeah.
I hope that happens.
Me too.
That would be super cool.
Me too.
But sort of like, I mean, it's not exactly the same thing. Sort of like with Days of Future Past now. You know, I have a hard time going back to X3 and being as worked up about it as I used to. Yeah, like not like I'm trying. I just mean I don't have the feelings about it I used to as much. This I just don't want to have to sit through. I guess X3.
And this movie.
But what I was going to say is, at least we have a good Wolverine movie.
Oh, absolutely. We have at least one. It looks like we'll get another.
And Logan will probably be at least on par with that.
Yeah,
we'll see.
No, this is just baffling. This is like a Warner Brothers movie. Like it's incoherent. It makes no sense. It's super studio meddled, and it's. I mean, I don't know how you allow this to go to theaters. Much like I felt about BVS and Suicide Squad.
Even being PG-13, how do you mess this up? At least to that degree. Because, like, Weapon X is a real simple story. You don't have to add a billion things to it. And maybe they're thinking, well, Weapon X would make a great short film, but we got to pad it out like crazy, like 9, in order to fill an hour and a half to 2 hours. Like, how long is this movie? It's 1:45. It's an hour 45. You could make a 90-minute Weapon X movie,
absolutely,
and not move and not have to add too much.
And if you and like that's
and you could and like you said, all you have to do if you're having a hard time stretching just the Weapon X story to that, your first act is origin and you're done.
Yeah. Well, or just don't make an origin movie. Just go make a Wolverine movie. That's real simple to make.
Yeah.
He's an 80s action hero. Make one of those movies and throw some mutants in. That's what they did with the Wolverine. I mean, it's not exactly mutants, but that's what the Wolverine is.
Well, and I get the temptation to want to make a Weapon X movie, but like, okay,
then make a Weapon X
call
movie.
It Weapon X, and you know, give him that look and everything that's iconic and people remember. Yeah, this is the Deadpool bed.
Okay. I wonder if the other one's on this DVD at all.
Yeah, I don't know.
We can look up on YouTube after. Well, and I think part of the reason that people were angry about this movie is that this is not the character that they wanted, and then we're supposed to be like excited for this. Also, how did it was like grown over his mouth.
Yeah.
Like Neo in The Matrix. How'd that go away?
That's also baffling. Like, who's he shushing?
It's us, the audience, because he's Deadpool. Fourth wall breaking.
Oh, because he's fourth wall breaking.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how
That's
he's dumb enough
one
not to pick up on
to
that.
The fans.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway. Anti-smoking PSA. What? We may have to watch that. It's not on here.
Okay. We'll look it up on YouTube after.
What is the It's 34 seconds. Oh,
it's just an anti-smoking
It has nothing
PSA.
to do with Wolverine.
It's not Wolverine.
Why is it in here? Just because somebody smokes in this movie?
Okay, so
does he ever actually pull out a cigar in that movie?
I think he is smoking a cigar in one scene.
Yes,
because Agent Zero shoots the cigar.
We should have watched that. Maybe you wouldn't have wanted to smoke anymore. Maybe it would have made you stop smoking.
Sure.
No?
Well, see, but that's for cigar smoking. I don't do that. Okay, so it's really baffling, and I think I did know this, because I was going to complain that the Deadpool one wasn't on here, but it's the Wolverine one that's not on the DVD at all. The post-credit scene. Like, why would you do that? I know it exists. I'm not crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I believe you, but I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, and it's him in like Tokyo or something. Like it's even this far back. Hugh Jackman was like, the next Wolverine's going to be the Japan story.
Weird.
Yeah.
And you're not throwing a bone in the theater to enough Deadpool fans if you're only going to show it half the time.
Mm-hmm.
And those people might not even stay all the way to the end because that's not a thing yet.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not saying we didn't have post-credit scenes, but people don't expect it every time yet.
Yeah.
We're on our way, but really, I think after Incredible Hulk, everybody's expecting, which is funny because that's the one that doesn't have one.
Yeah. Yeah. And everyone starts doing them.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the Marvel Studios. All the X-Men films have them moving forward too, right? First Class doesn't.
I don't think First Class has one.
Yeah. Does Days of Future Past?
Well, yeah.
Oh, right.
It's Apocalypse.
Right. Yeah, it's Apocalypse.
Yeah, and obviously the Wolverine has Days of Future Past lead up.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yep.
Well, folks, thanks a lot for watching. We sure appreciate it. And I don't really feel like the Jaeger thing affected us at all.
I didn't either. Maybe a little bit in the beginning, but
yeah. But I don't know. That was fun. Anyway.
Yep.
We will see you again tomorrow when we'll be tackling, I want to say it's Iron Man 2.
It is Iron Man 2.
So we'll see you for that. And in the meantime, I am Captain Logan.
I'm Eric.
Thanks for watching.